All right. Focal Point, AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Jeff, I'm going to send you over a complete list of segment titles. So let me get your name in the thing there and fire that off. Now, a catastrophic global warming alert. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this vote to extend unemployment benefits and why that's a really, really, really bad idea. But here are just some factoids for the day on catastrophic global warming. It is colder in Chicago at the O'Hare Airport than it is at the South Pole. Catastrophic global warming alert. At midnight, the temperature at O'Hare was 3 degrees below zero. By Monday morning, it had dropped to 16 below, which was colder than the South Pole, where it was 11 degrees below zero. Colder at Chicago Airport than it was in Siberia. In New York City, they set a cold record that had stood for 118 years. This was is 4 degrees, which is the coldest January 7 since 1896. 118 years, record low temperatures, catastrophic global warming. So cold, according to CNN, grab this, I love this. It's so cold that even polar bears and penguins at these zoos are going inside where it's warm. Too cold for the polar bears. This is at the Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago. Too cold for the penguins at the National Aviary in Pittsburgh. Catastrophic global warming, the polar bears and the penguins being driven inside. Story here out of a remote part of northern Illinois. 500 Amtrak passengers stranded since yesterday by 12-foot snowdrifts. I mean, the train couldn't go any further. Stopped in the tracks, ran into 12-foot snowdrifts, couldn't move. They're 80 miles outside of Chicago. I mean, the sinks are overflowing. The bathrooms are a mess. Catastrophic global warming. And you've heard these people talking about this polar vortex. Don't let them lie to you. In 1974, this Time magazine was blaming this polar vortex, same term they use. All the environmentalists are out there using polar vortex, whatever that means. Time magazine said back in 1974, oh yeah, we've got a polar vortex that's being caused by global cooling. That was Time magazine 1974. Back then, it was in a magazine and an issue that was devoted to a coming ice age. The whole thing, 1974, was about this coming ice age, and these polar vortexes are being caused by global cooling. Now, today, 2014, what is that, 40 years later? Now they're saying the same polar vortex caused by global warming. Princeton physicist Dr. Will Happer refutes the claim that global warming is causing record cold polar vortices. That's the plural of vortex, vortices. Polar vortices have been around forever. They have almost nothing to do with more CO2 in the atmosphere. And then he goes through the description of how these polar vortices actually form. It has to do with sunshine and the poles and the winter and all that kind of stuff, the lack of cloud cover, what it does to wind patterns, how the jet stream, which is highly unstable, can take that polar vortex and down to low latitudes like it's doing right now. Anyway, it's all a product of natural processes, has nothing to do, zero zip, with global warming, and that is from a physicist at Princeton who knows a lot more than any Yahoo who is a global warmist. I just find this is kind of curious. States now are assessing fines against people that have electric cars. So you bought this electric car, you're not buying enough gas. Why is that a problem? You'd think it'd be great. Hey, people are using less gas. Isn't that the point? Develop this independence from fossil fuels. Well, the states are saying, oh my gosh, you're driving these electric cars. You're not paying any gasoline taxes. We're going broke here. So now they're assessing an extra special charge, a penalty. They are punishing people that drive these electric cars because they're not paying gas taxes. So states say, hey, we want you to do it. We want you to drive these e-cars. We got to diminish our dependence on fossil fuels, on foreign fuels, on gasoline imports. and then they're drilling them $50 a head because they're not paying enough in gasoline taxes. Now, let's shift gears if we can, Rob, and talk a little bit about Obamacare, the problems that